My name's Saffron and I'm from Kaitaia, born and raised there. Population of about, well now, 6,000, so probably half of that when I was growing up in Kaitaia, maybe like 3,000, 4,000 people.
I grew up in a small town called Thames, a place of about 7,000 people, small but significant.
And I grew up in a small town called Stratford, which is in Taranaki, and that's even smaller, a population of about 5,000 people.
For both of us, like I said, I guess the local churches in those towns had a huge impact on us discovering God.
At the time, like as a kid, you just, kids don't always want to be at church things and stuff, and that was definitely me, but Mum and Dad would just drag me to prayer meetings all over the place. And there was always, like in our church, there was always this sense of whānau and family.
Going to church in Kaitaia was real pivotal for me. I kind of realized that I had everything I could have wanted as a 12-year-old, but something was still missing, and being a part of a church helped me realize what that was, and it was Jesus.
After my parents got married, my mum got saved, and so no one in any of our family was saved, and so she got saved, and we had the option to go to church with her on Sundays. And from a young age, I remember just the consistency of going to a place where God was talked about and where the presence of God was, that greatly impacted my life.
I have like real vivid memories of like the first time playing drums at church. Like I was 6 years old and couldn't even reach the pedals, and Dad just saying, "Jump on, you're playing this Sunday," and just, everything that I or the foundational stuff that I know about music and the foundational stuff that I know about family and doing life together started in my home church.
Not knowing Jesus personally, but I got to witness people who did know him as their closest friend, having a personal relationship with him, people who walked out a life of faith, not just on a Sunday, but a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
One of the biggest things that impacted my life or helped me discover God to be real was actually the local youth leader in that space. Took so much time with us, me and a few mates, and connecting us in, and part of that is we always wanted to hang out with him, but part of that is we had to go along to church, so then after church we could hang out.
My PE teacher, he was probably real significant in my journey before coming to Auckland and following Jesus. Watching how he loved people, he was a PE teacher, but he loved surfing. And what he didn't just teach people and connect with people throughout the week in church on a Sunday, but he's like, "Hey, come do life with me." He'd have people over for dinner all the time. His family would invite people over to go surfing with them. And that showed me that church wasn't just a Sunday thing, but it was like, let's do life together. Let's really hang out, have fun, enjoy each other, and talk about God.
Because sometimes I would come home from school and some random would be in the house and I don't even know who they are. And they're like, eating on the table, and I walk in and I was like, "Oh, hi. Why do we always have to have people over here, Mum?" And sometimes Mum's answer to me was, because they don't have anywhere to live. It exposed me to what real love is.
For me now, being able to prioritize people in a large church, the one-on-one, having a meal with people, and talking about Jesus, that's something that I definitely learnt in the rural church in Kaitaia, where the joy of the Lord essentially spilled out over the tables into the communities, and that's what I've carried into what I'm doing now.
I have a real strong memory of a particular situation where our pastor invited a group of us children to come up to the front of church during a service, and he gave us a prophetic word each, and there was only a small group of us, and I was probably 6 or 7, and I remember in my head thinking, "Oh, God, please don't tell me to invite my friend or tell my friends about God." But I remember God telling me that, and then the pastor said to me, "I think you just need to tell your friends about God," and he moved on. From that moment, I just knew in my heart I could hear the voice of God. It was in that small place that God developed a bigness in my spirit and the ability to dream big, and I never felt confined.
My approach to most things that I do, or any area of leadership that I've been involved in, it's a very community kind of approach. These are the things that have been instilled in me from my parents, and I guess the church community that I grew up in.
I just want to encourage any pastor leader that is leading a church in a rural area across New Zealand. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for your time, your sacrifice, your heart. For me, I'm a result of your obedience, your love for Jesus and your love for people in the rural areas of New Zealand.
Without you, kids like me, people like us wouldn't come to know God the way we know God. And so we're so grateful, so thankful for every person that leads and initiates in these communities.
Whether that church is, 10 people or 50 people, I just want to say to you, thank you for what you're doing. I know you don't always see the fruits of your labor, but trust me, it's there.